they don't play. Ha! Three the hard way, yeah.
All right, y'all, we are back through the hallway. Our next segment is NBA topics. We're going to start with Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin, both being sat down by their respective teams until they are traded. So says the teams. And Draymond Green said, yo, that's some bullshit. Draymond Green was not happy. He sounded off, said that it was contradicting, that the teams can actually put stuff out about the players, and the players have to sit back and be quiet. And if they don't, then they're tyrants and they're cancers, and they get a bad name. Which ultimately, and I'm sure John might sound off on this a little bit more, which ultimately can mess with their money in the long run. So, um, what are our sentiments toward this? Do we agree with Draymond? Do we think Draymond took it a little bit out of context? What is this nuance? I want to say new nuance of NBA teams saying we're gonna sit guys until they're traded. It's not my first time hearing this.
Go ahead, big game. I know you want to sound off.
I mean, I agree with Draymond, bro. Like it's high past time, bro. Like you can't. This is a new era of NBA players, new era athlete, not just NBA players. This is a new era of athletes. And if the owners are allowed to just, for example, I think it was Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes was in the middle of playing a game, and at halftime was told that he was traded. Come on, son. Like, that's so disrespectful. And now we understand that it's a business at the end of the day. It is a business. But how you do business and how you treat your employees or the people that you're doing business with respect says a lot more than that. And then the dichotomy of that, right? Like, let's say, for example, and Draymond Green did a great job of highlighting the comparison, right? Highlighting the hypocrisy. If a player were to say, you know what, I want out of here, I'm not playing, then the media just straight up ostracized. Like he said, we've seen it happen with James Harden, right? But if a team, God forbid, say a team wants a guy to get out and a guy wants to stay, a la DeRozan, DeRozan has to act in his best interest and be like, listen, because I don't want to be seen as a bad guy, I'm still going to play this out, even though that's not fair towards me. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with Draymond 110%. The league has to do something about it. That has to be checked, and maybe in the next CBA agreements, they talk about it in those discussions. That has to be something that needs to be addressed in the NBA.
Yeah, Rob. As much as I hate to say it, man, because I'm not the biggest Draymond Green supporter at the moment, he does have a point, man. He does have a point. When Anthony Davis made it vehemently clear to the world that he wanted to be traded to the Lakers, the NBA fined him. If
100,000,
fined him. Just like, yo, you can't do that.
It's not no small change to nobody. I don't care if you're a millionaire. 100,000 is chicken.
They fined him. Like they penalized him for it. You know, and it really does suck because like Draymond said, you put the shoe on the opposite foot. Andre Drummond says, hey, I don't want to be here no more. I ain't playing. Oh my God, he's a cancer to the team. It brings down his value, this, that, and the third. So Draymond does have a point, but at the end of the day, as a player, shoot, go ahead. All right, I'm chilling. Just because I know for myself, if I go out there and play and I stink up the joint, A, or B, I get hurt, my value goes down. And so does my money. And so does all these other things. And now I'm probably not going to go to the team that I want to go to, a la DeMarcus Cousins when he tore his Achilles. He lost millions and millions of dollars. So, like, it is really a catch-22. I do appreciate Draymond for speaking out and making these things prevalent to the and bringing it to the forefront. But me as a player, man, hey, I'll be the professional. I'll sit down. I'll work out with my trainer. I'll work out in practice. Yes, it's going to suck. But best believe when I get a chance to talk about it and come on a podcast, like All the Smoke, like Through the Hard Way, like Knuckleheads, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because this is a very, very big double standard that's going on in the NBA right
now. I'm just going to add a little bit of my sentiment what you guys are saying. I think that this what Draymond is getting at shows how the league has done or spent more time, more effort in policing its players than it has the organizations. And unlike other leagues, NFL, NBA, MLB to be specific, these players in the NBA have spoken out a lot more. And I think it's fair to give Adam Silver and even David Stern before Adam Silver credit for creating the platform and making it so that NBA players' voice is heard more than it has been in the past, and definitely more than it is in comparison to the other national leagues. When you allow a child, I'm just gonna compare it to a child right quick. When you raise your child with the notion that you can not necessarily talk back, but have an opinion, speak through your opinion, give fact about your opinion, so you're not just give a based opinion, then you open up the door for things to be said that you may not like. And that's what I've noticed with LeBron's statements about the All-Star game, and then Draymond Green even now in his statements about the way that the hypocrisy of trading and things of that nature. My only question now is to the league: are you to shut up your players? Are you to come down harder on them so they don't speak out as much like you do with players and coaches when it comes to the refs? Or do you listen? Do you actually take into account to what they're saying? How about we stop, and this is just hypothetical, how about we stop all trades going through at 4 p.m. so a guy doesn't get warmed up and dressed up and all of these things to play a game like Harrison Barnes? I remember that, like Harrison Barnes playing in mid-game, finishing the game, and not even being a part of that team when the game is over. Like, how do we go about those things? How do we put the rules in place? And then maybe that's something somewhere where the NBA will use this opportunity to come to the table and to make it more fair. The executives have all the power in that catch-22, Rob, because the other part to that catch-22, oh yeah, I'll sit. I won't get hurt. I also love the freaking game. I love my teammates. I've been with these guys for 2 years. I want to play my last game with them if it is my last game with them. I mean, we're not talking, and even if we were talking about role players that get bounced around 7-8 times in this, not in a season, but 7-8 times in 7-8 years, these guys we see it as a game. The executives see it as a game, as a business, but these guys our game is their life. These are brotherhoods, these are friendships, these are communities that these people have built in. Show them some common decency. And if you can't do it the way that, if you need to, not cookie cutter, but cut corners and be sly and to make the best business, then maybe we need to make the business more fair for the people that are putting it all on the line. And that's my sentiment on Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin and Draymond sounding off. So some more festive things. NBA All-Star, or festive for us watchers, according to LeBron and other superstars, it's not gonna be festive at all. But the NBA All-Star Game format has been released. John, you can do a better job of explaining exactly how it's going down. Go ahead.
Yeah, so pretty much they're combining the All-Star weekend into one day. So the pregame, and I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be maybe like an hour or whatever the case may be. It's going to be a super long pregame. And the pregame is going to be a 3-point contest and a skills challenge. Following that is going to be the first half of the All-Star game. And then following the first half in the halftime show is going to be the slam dunk contest. And then following the slam dunk contest will be the second half of the All-Star game. For me, I just think the NFL and the NBA is as awesome at doing this stuff, like just kind of working on the fly and making it work, being creative and being flexible with the tools that they have, and hearing the players. And because ultimately, the All-Star game used to be a weekend, so they cut it down to one day. I think they did the best that they could to protect the players at the same time while giving the fans what they want. And that's what the NBA does, what it does best, is they make sure that they give the fans what they want. Remember, They were the first league to open up in sports. When we was down with COVID, they created the bubble. That's all because of the fans, and they wanted the fans to be able to watch people play basketball. So my takeaway from that is, NBA does it again as an organization when it comes to, just giving fans their satisfaction.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what you were saying, John, my sources are telling me that 50% of revenue is going to go back to the players. So, the All-Star Weekend is a big money generator for the NBA. You got different jerseys that's coming out. You got exclusive sneakers. You got all these different sponsorships that are coming in just to get their name out there because, like you said, it's a big market. And, I feel like the NBA, Adam Silver, man, he's one of the most progressive commissioners of all the sports, man. And he tries to find that happy medium between the players and the governors, as he like to call the leaders of the organizations, of the teams. So, man, I'm all for it. I'm a huge basketball fan, so, I'm going to be glued to the TV and trying to just see whatever's going on. And listen, even if LeBron and Giannis and them are not playing, I'm still going to be interested in the backups, even if it is Julius Randle.
That was a big shot.
But man's balling, bro. I can't take it away from him.
It sounds like this is going to be the longest production ever. I'm assuming that the skills challenge and the 3-point competition, and even possibly the dunk challenge, slam dunk competition, will be modified in some type of way to make them shorter.
Yeah.
It's the only way that can work. We are going to be missing the celebrity game, which is always something fun to watch. The Friday, the Friday before. Rob doesn't care, but I'm just curious as to how it all plays out. I think it's something that we're gonna enjoy, but it's gonna be kind of weird. It's gonna be a lot of looking around, like what's next, or am I in the right place, and so it could lead to some memes or some blunders, but for what it's worth, an All-Star game should be cool. It won't have the same sentiment, but again, it's a game, and this game is necessary for the fans and for them in a therapeutic way as well, as we still go through COVID-19 protocols. So let's have some fun enjoying this game and see what it's worth.
Just want to add that no other sports have had an All-Star game since COVID, and the NBA will be, again, the first to do it. So big shout outs to Adam Silver. Big shout outs to the players and also the governors, as Rob says.
All right, and speaking of All-Star game, as we have a few more minutes left on this topic, speaking of All-Star game, we want to talk about who we think should be first-time All-Stars this year. And John's rubbing his hands, so I'm going to shoot this your way. Big game, John.
Oh, man. So, of course, you got Zach LaVine. And Julius Randle, bro. Those are my guys. Zach LaVine and Julius Randle. Julius Randle having the breakout season. If I was to tell you that Julius Randle will be averaging 23 points, 11 rebounds, and close to 6 assists, you'd be probably telling me, like, are we back in Kentucky days? Nah, bro. This is Tibbs. This is the Tibbs effect. He breathes life into his players, man, and plays them for 40 minutes again. But with that being said, I love the way that Julius Randle is playing. I love the way that Zach LaVine is playing, and really finally coming into that player. I remember telling her, I'm like, yo, Zach LaVine's going to be nice. He's going to be nice. Back even when he got drafted, and he had his ups and downs, and now he's actually, the proof is in the pudding, bro. He had some 40-point games, had some great clutch moments and some memorable moments this season. I think that deserves to be rewarded. So those are my two first-time All-Stars.
Man, John, go ahead, Ty.
Zach LaVine has been dope this year. He was dope last year, and Julius Randle, for what it's worth, has been better this year. But he was pretty damn good last year. The trend that I am seeing, and it's interesting because we look at Donovan Mitchell, we look at Dame Lillard, and we say, "Oh, these guys are once in a lifetime talents," and they got drafted in these situations where they were able to flourish and be great and kind of earned it. Whereas, Zach LaVine once played with a bunch of stars on his team. I mean, Cat was there. Who else was there? Who else was there?
Jimmy Butler, D
Jimmy
Rose.
was there. I think he was traded for those guys, but he was with
Wiggins.
It was okay. Yeah, they had a pretty good team with Wiggins, Rubio, Kevin Garnett on his back end, Cat early in his career. They had a pretty decent team there, but he was never given the opportunity to be the guy. I think in Chicago, the opportunity to be the guy was more a situation for him. So last year we seen some really big games, and this year he's able to. And even before the bubble, we saw some really big games from Zach LaVine. Same thing with Julius Randle. The Knicks sucked last year, right or wrong, John?
Yeah, we sucked last year.
All right. But Julius Randle was the guy. And you traded Marcus Morris, who's getting 18 a game.
Nah, Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris was the guy. Julius Randle was not the guy. Marcus Morris was the guy.
You traded Marcus Morris or traded Marcus Morris before the trade deadline. That's what I'm trying to say.
Halfway through the season.
Halfway through the season. It was Marcus Morris. And now we look at Marcus Morris.
The season got cut in half last year. So
what I remember was Julius Randle was when Marcus Morris left, Julius Randle was the guy. Marcus Morris was there. Julius Randle was still taking a bunch of if not the guy, I'm A or B option on this team. So he has that A or B option confidence. Same thing Zach LaVine has. And you see it flourish. So it makes me wonder when these good teams do really good at drafting players high in the draft or, anything but before 15, and you get a guy like Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown on a team that's already good, what if the guy can't cream to the top immediately? I look at Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz never got the true shot. And I felt like with Orlando this year, after getting some of the work last year, he was starting to step into that mode. Granted, he may not be the scorer that Zach LaVine or Julius Randle are, but it's just for me to say that I think that when you get that confidence of a number one player, when you're treated like that, some of these earlier bust or underperforming young players actually show you what they're actually working with. I'm going to be short with my all-star because we don't have a lot of time. And I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm only saying this because he's one of my favorite guys, and I think that he has all-star numbers. But I think Jeremy Grant should get a nod for the all-star. Should get an all-star nod. It's probably not going to happen because his team is terrible. But if we talk about Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal and Julius Randle, that means that he's got a shot. Who would have thought that he's a 23-point scorer to go into the league this year, shooting almost 40% from three? He did not have the opportunities in OKC. He got to show a little bit of the talent, but the position itself, power forward, was heavily stacked in Denver. And now he's out here. They're ready to trade Blake Griffin and move on from him. Easier to be done when you got a guy like Jeremy Grant making less than half the money that Blake Griffin is making. But I think he's shown his promise and that he is a really good talent in the league, 23 points a game as number one guy. Although they are doing a lot of losing, I think Jeremy Grant is having a really great season, all-star season.
Yeah, and really quick, man, I think Jeremy Grant is having a really good season. He's definitely making Detroit look really smart in their investment on that. That's very good ROI. But I gotta put some respect in my boy Zach LaVine's name, dog.
Mm-hmm.
This is number 7 in scoring in the league. Number 7, averaging 28, shooting 51% from the field as a shooting guard.
That's what's hard.
And 43 from deep. He's top 9 and he's top 9 in 3-point taken per game. And the only 2 people who have a higher percentage than him is Steph Curry and CJ McCollum in that top 9. So, like, bro, LaVine is out here balling. He's in a big market. He's showing up every night. You know what I mean? And he's number 1 in percentage in shooting guards for field goals. Like, 51% is amazing. Aside from Zach LaVine, I'm going to double down on my boy. Well, not my boy, but, one of my picks for most improved, Jaylen Brown, dog. He's another guy shooting 50-40. You know what I mean? He's shooting 51% from field. I think he's shooting like 41% from deep. He's averaging 26 points a night. Boston is a better team in the Eastern Conference, although they are slumping right now. But those 2 guys, man, they deserve some all-star love this year. I think they were high-flying. They're right. They prime for the prime time, man. So I'm giving some respect. Jaylen Brown and Zach LaVine.
All right, we don't got much time. We're actually out of time. we said Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Jeremy Grant, and
Jaylen Brown.
If you can only take two, who would you put in?
You asking me?
You going with your two out of the four? Out of the whole four?
I'm going with
Jaylen Brown over Julius Randle?
I'm going with the man that's winning.
So you're saying Jaylen Brown? So you're saying Jaylen Brown? So you're saying Julius Randle over Zach LaVine?
I'm taking Julius Randle over Zach LaVine.
Over 51% from a shooting guard? 28 a game?
Over the Knicks beat them 3 times.
But Rob, on the other end, man, 23, 11, and 6 is nuts.
Listen, man, at the end of the day, this is how I look at it. New York, Chicago, New York.
Really?
So if I had to pick, I mean, I personally want LaVine in there over Julius Randle, but I think Julius Randle will get the nod. They do have a better record right now. He is in the bigger market. New York has been begging for any type of success, and you know, Julius Randle's performing. He had a 40-point game.
Let me just ask you this question: if you looked at the Knicks roster and you looked at the Bulls roster, who would you say had the better roster?
Injury or non-injury?
We don't got time for this, y'all. We'll be back in a second to go down the stretch. Y'all.
You know the answer.
Boom.
Exactly.
They don't play hot with the hard way.